Hey Radiant Souls, welcome to my channel. My name is Heather Mays. I am an artist, author, intuitive counselor, animal communicator, and energy healer, and I'm on a mission to empower and embolden others to connect with their divine radiant light. One of the ways I do that is through something I create called an energetic signature portrait. And I say I create it, I really channel it. We'll talk about that more in a minute. But about once every year, I film one of these videos where I talk about my process with the art. I do a lot of interviews where I talk about art, but I'm not always able to go into the detail and into the weeds of how everything works. So I like to file one of these away for safekeeping about once a year. So for me, the energetic signature portrait started in spring of 2020. I was receiving other messages from my team of guides, and if we've just met, hi, I work with a team of guides that are spirit, angelic, and multidimensional beings. I've been aware of them my entire life for the most part, definitely since around the age of 6. And they're just a team of guides. I don't know how else to say it. We can talk about that in another video at another time. But I would receive these kind of downloads of information, which eventually became channeled information that I wrote in my book, Hey Radiant Souls, A Guide for Finding and Shining Your Light. But sort of like turning on a faucet, as soon as that information started to come through, and I should say there was artwork associated with that. There were little memes and like little shortcut themes to the message that they were expanding on. There was like a visual that represented it. So almost because I think I had that pathway opened up, channeling the book, other stuff started to come through in an artistic form. And I would, and many of you might have this experience too, I would go to sleep and see geometric shapes as I was dozing off or coming awake. And then I started to see these swirling, pulsing geometric shapes and colors around people. So like I remember one in particular, a delivery guy or something came to the house, and it's kind of weird. Instead of his face, I saw like the geometry superimposed over his face. And I thought, well, that's kind of kooky. I don't know what that is. Worked through connecting with my higher self, my team, did some meditation on it, and came to understand these as energetic frequency that represented that person. So kind of like where we would wear a name tag that says, hi, my name's Heather. This art is like you. It's like it's an energy selfie, if you will. So to play around with that, I thought, well, that sounds pretty cool. That sounds amazing, but where's my part in it? So to play around and kind of develop that further, I have some amazing friends, and thank you if you're watching. I worked with them and friends who knew each other. I would do a few of these portraits, and I would know who I was kind of sketching it for or channeling it for. But I would put the portraits in front of the friends and say, can you feel into whose is whose? And they could identify one another based on this geometry. And I thought, well, that is really kind of cool. Thank you for being my test group. And from there, I just worked on my process and bringing it through. So what is my process and what does that even mean? When I connect with someone's energy to pull through a portrait, I use kind of the fingerprint of their name and their geographic location, so their city, state, and country. And for me, that's what clicks it on. I don't need other information. I don't really even want other information because I want something to come through in a pure way. So just the name and the city, state, country. And with that, I go into a trance state or a channeled state, and I receive from my team of guides and from the client's team of guides their shapes, their colors, their patterns, different textures that I might use. And I'm doing all of this in a digital art app. So I am partially channeling this, but I'm also physically doing the art, controlling all of that, kind of watching it as it's coming through and hearing messages and getting a sense of who the person is at a soul level, what they're here to accomplish in this lifetime, how they may represent themselves energetically with their friends, with their family, out in the world. All of that kind of comes together in this artistic representation. So channel all of that, and then wrap it up depending on the type of portrait someone has purchased. I may also channel a bit of a message and give a little brief interpretation, just 2 to 3 sentences. And the channeled message is really brief as well. And if I'm spending time channeling and preparing all of these documents, then that's taking quite a bit of time, and I can't get to everybody in the time that I'd like to. So that's it. And then I send it off to someone. They download it on a secure link, and it's theirs to keep, to print, to do whatever with. And people are having amazing reactions to these pieces. I never get tired of hearing how someone feels. Their energy feels different. They see themselves clearly for the first time. They don't know why, but they may start crying. They may have a feeling of like being hugged, a feeling of sound, a feeling of pulsation. There's all kinds of different reactions people have had. And on my website, you can see a lot of those in some of the testimonials. So I offer 4 different types. One is the original energetic signature portrait, and that's where you're ordering that for yourself or perhaps for another living person. And I say living person because I also do a version where I am connecting into a loved one in spirit. So that's a pet or a person who has passed over, who has died, who is no longer with us in physical form. And with those, there's no channeled message. I'm not doing a mediumship reading of any sort with those. It's just the art. The third kind is for a pet, where I connect with your pet's energy and do their symbology, their geography, their colors, all of that. And that also is art only. And then the fourth kind is the energy of a relationship. So that could be you and your husband, you and your kids, you and your pets, you and your business partners, you and your friend group, your bridesmaids, whatever it is. The energy of that relationship, because each of our relationships has their own energetic signature as well. And so for that version, also, that's art only. The only one you get the brief interpretation and the channel messages with is the original version. If you want to track your energy over time, because what's absolutely amazing and has been so wonderful to watch now that I've been doing these for a couple of years now, is that just like if I were to take a picture of myself today, take a picture of myself 2 months from now, I'm going to see changes. That happens with our energetic signature portraits as well. Sometimes we see things where we're evolving, where we're growing. Sometimes we see where our energy might be contracting or feeling more restrictive, and there may be things that we can see within the portrait that give us a clue on what we can work on for ourselves. So I also offer 4 portraits in a year as part of a package. You pay that one time, and I do a portrait for you every 12 weeks for the course of a year, and we kind of track that together. And anybody who has that package, it's so much fun for us to look at that together. So that's it. That's the process. That's what the energetic signature portraits are. Thank you for hanging out and watching. And if you were wondering more about how I do them, why I do them, where they come from, what they are, I hope those answered some of those questions for you. So thanks very much for watching. I will see you in the next video. Have an amazing day. Bye.